Welcome to the Monster Report, a show highlighting those entertaining creatures of film history. Nick Adam Poling here, your host. In our last review, we saw Gamera duke it out with Freezy McRainbow and won the victory. Now, he faces his only foe that has had reappearances in the Gamera series. Today, let's take a look at Gamera vs. Gyaos.
This was the second Gamera film I saw in my childhood. As a 9-year-old kid renting this in the video store, I remember thinking about the fact that it was marketed to children in America on these Celebrity Just for Kids VHS tapes. Check out this box art. Interestingly, this is how the series was marketed for the rest of the Showa or Classic era. The original Gamera had elements that appealed directly to children, considering a primary cast member was the little boy Toshio. Gamera vs. Barugan was very much more for a mature audience, dealing with murder, theft, and cultural divides. Plus, it had no children as primary or even secondary cast members. Gamera vs. Gyaos begins the time where not only is the giant fire-breathing flying turtle the friend to all children, but also their superhero.
Thanks a lot, Gamera!
I find this film a great one to watch late at night when the lights are low. In the scene where Eiichi and his family are at home listening to the sounds of Gyaos in the mountains, it's truly frightening. There are other scenes throughout where sounds or flickering lights are used to convey the fear of impending doom of Gyaos' next attack.
It's coming! It's coming! It's coming!
These elements add to the enjoyability of a great classic monster flick. Gyaos is a well-designed kaiju, with both strengths and weaknesses for our human characters to take advantage of. He may have sonic beams, flame-dousing fog, agility, and flight, but he can't turn his head, and he's not a fan of sunlight. A nocturnal creature similar to a bat that drinks blood, cannot stand sunlight, has wings that resemble a cape. He may have had some inspiration from the legendary vampire, but I also find that aspects of Gyaos' design and abilities have inspired other monsters later in both the Godzilla and Gamera franchises. I'm reminded of the Muto's EMP ability when I see scenes of the lights flickering before Gyaos' appearances a few times in the film. Come to think of it, the Muto's head design looks a little like Gyaos too. Gyaos' signature ability is the ultrasonic cutting beam he creates using his vocal cords. It can slice through anything. He splits this car in two, but is nice enough to leave the engine and chassis intact.
Let's get out of here!
There, get a picture.
Yeah.
Quick.
Every time I see this chopper halved by Gyaos, I cannot take my eyes off this extra, really selling his role as someone in true peril. And this guy, who nonchalantly bounds off the edge to his apparent demise. It's like he didn't even want to put any more effort into this than his paycheck demanded of him. I thoroughly enjoy the human story of the conflict with the village citizens and the crew building the new road through their farms. This brings to mind Japan's struggle with becoming more industrial and westernized. Small villages and old traditions were bulldozed under the cold foundations of concrete and steel. Though these villagers are portrayed somewhat as first-class swindlers, with a collective greed that drives them to vandalize and sabotage the construction effort. All of this to get the best price for their land. Returning for the second time in Daiei's Gamera films is Kojiro Hongo, who played Keisuke in Gamera vs. Barugan. I like to think that he's put the past behind him, you know, with all of that business, retrieving the opal, fighting with Barugan, and nearly getting killed numerous times by Onodera. Yes, I know, the actor is playing a completely different character in this film. It's just one of those things I think on my own. Anyways, the audience relates through the experience of Eiichi, or at least that's how I see it. He tries to make sense of the materialistic efforts of the men in his village, including his own grandfather. When abandoned by the reporter in a cave, Gamera comes to Eiichi's rescue, solidifying Super Turtle as a hero and friend to all children. My fondest memory of seeing this film as a child is the amazing ride Eiichi has on Gamera's shell. What kid would turn down a chance like that? Where do you buy tickets? This is the first things I think about when this film is mentioned. Gyaos and Gamera's fight scenes are plentiful and thoroughly planned in the filmmaking process. I appreciate the innovative ways that Gamera and the human characters try to defeat the nocturnal beast. So, let's break down our big three plans that fail. Number 1. Jets attack Gyaos' hideout in the green glow of the forest. They fire on the general area of their target, but don't exactly see Gyaos. So he begins slicing and dicing away their attacks from the comfort of his wooded sanctuary. Number 2. Flares are used to keep the nocturnal monster at bay. By the way, the kid discovered this little weakness.
He only comes out in the nighttime.
What's that?
It went unnoticed by the adults. These two goofballs decide they need to pour on as much light as possible on their construction headquarters. So they fire up every light bulb they can. Unfortunately, electric light isn't too reliable with Gyaos' EMP ability, and the flares just plain didn't work. The military opens fire on him, but high winds created by Gyaos' wings tosses their tanks around, like they were miniatures. Which they are. Of course. Number 3. Luring the vampire bird to a platform to spin him around starts working out just fine. And by the way, this also was an idea inspired by the kid, Eiichi. And I'm not even kidding here, they came up with the name Whirlybird for this plan right away. In movies, these plans would just go well if you don't try turning up the power.
Faster now! Right? Get the speed higher!
Number 4. As a bonus plan, they try to burn the forest down on the mountain. Gyaos' fog douses the flames, but does lure Gamera, so partial credit to the humans for implementing a plan that does end up working. By the way, you guessed it, Eiichi came up with this plan. I think this kid should start charging for consultation at this point. Gamera gets the points for the finishing move. Gyaos and volcanoes don't mix very well. For Gamera, though, it's a visit to the hot tub. Gamera vs. Gyaos feels to me like Ghidra the three-headed monster of the Dai franchise. As I said before, Gyaos has made reappearances through the use of stock footage and redesigned in the 90s trilogy in a truly innovative and creative way. He also makes a brief appearance in Gamera vs. Giron sporting a new chrome finish. Much like Ghidra, Gyaos is the iconic foe for the fire-breathing friend to all children. He's Gamera's Joker, King Koopa, Khan, Venom, Plankton, Magneto, Shredder, Agent Smith, the Big Bad Wolf, well, you get the point. One of the best in the Showa series of Gamera films.
Hope you've enjoyed this third film in our Gamera review series. Coming soon, get ready for some comedy. You thought this one was geared towards children, but you haven't seen anything yet. Gamera vs. Virus. We'll see you then on The Monster Report.